Hello, I'm Anthony Prom, writer, director, producer, and quite a few other things on Hans Christian Andersen's Little Mermaid. I'd like to welcome you all to this exclusive interview with me and some of the cast and filmmakers who helped bring this movie to life. First of all, here's Steven, my co-director and producer and actor. He plays the role of the captain. Here's my wonderful lead actress, Madeline, played Helena and Regina. Here's Michael, our co-lead, plays the Prince Alexander and helped us with production assistance. Here's Emily, plays the Sea Witch Cersei and another production assistant. Well, I first found myself interested in filmmaking back in middle school. I think it was 8th grade, maybe 7th. I read some books on filmmaking and special effects that they did, and that just inspired me to try it for myself. So I borrowed a friend of mine, had a camera they let me use, and we experimented doing that, and I made these little experimental home videos with that and never really stopped.
I made some home movies with my siblings as well. We found my parents' old video camera recorder, so we made a Koberman comedy show in our basement one summer. I think we still have those tapes. But real acting, I started St. Agnes Stage in their musicals in the children's chorus.
Right.
And this would be my first film debut for sure. But I've done a lot of more theater acting since. And Michael, you also went to St. Agnes.
I did, yeah. I got into filmmaking very similarly to you. I was in the St. Agnes spring musicals, and I also made a number of home movies with my siblings, which was very fun to do. Maybe someday they'll see the light of day, but I'll get back to you on that.
So I also, following the trend, I did some home movies as well. But, I don't know if I would have actually done those home movies with my siblings and family had Anthony not reached out to me in middle school about being in a Legend of Zelda fan film. So really, I think I owe it all back to Anthony.
So I think I first got into filmmaking with my friend Grace, who's an actress in this film. We would just role play with each other, our stories. And then eventually I got involved with Stephen and Anthony in their Legend of Zelda project, and then became interested in filmmaking in a way to tell our different stories. And so I just continued making movies with them and being involved in whatever way I could.
Script writing is quite the creative process, but depending on the day and what kind of writing you're doing, it's either a joy or a curse. I mean, it's a joy because there's some days where you're really excited, you got a ton of ideas, and you're just writing so much stuff kind of with great material. Other days it seems like a bit of a grind, you're just trying to pump it out, and it's all in here, but you have to get it on paper so other people know it, and so it really varies.
And Emily, you have your own stories. You're a storyteller.
Yeah, well, I have the luxury of writing my own personal stories that I come up with, so then I have the freedom to write whatever I want. But yeah, it definitely can be challenging at times, but it can also be really fun, especially when you can get friends together to read the script.
But we can't do that.
Different voices.
We run the place, remember? There's no rules now.
It is now time to implement Operation Meta. Who will be the brave left to go?
I'll do it! Pick me.
No, tell! It's too dangerous!
The first movie project I ever did was a Zelda fan film. At first an original story, an original Zelda story, and then an adaptation of a script I had found that someone else had written. Neither project really went anywhere.
Was Emily also involved in that then?
She was going to play Zelda in the first attempt at the fan film.
Oh.
Yeah, I became involved in their your first Legend of Zelda project. Yeah. Me and Grace became involved in that, I think. It was first me, and then I think Grace became involved.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is really cool that we can tell stories in this way through film, and then proposed one of my story ideas that we could make into a movie, which we eventually did for many years later, and that's how Michael got involved with during the project of Guardian of Agora.
Right, yeah. I believe it was in 2017 for Snow Days, I think it was, at St. Agnes, and you started to tell me there about the movie that you were working on and if I would be interested in doing it. And it sounded like a really cool fantasy adventure project, so I did it.
Yeah, I remember that I made you ask Grace to prom, and then you were unfortunate or fortunate enough to sit by me at prom, in which I told you about Guardian of Agora and asked if you wanted to play one of the parts.
Right.
That's crazy.
When we first just decided we wanted to make this Little Mermaid movie, we had already started Guardian of Agora, so we knew that we were, able to start a movie. We didn't know if we were going to be able to finish it, but we were like, okay, we want to do this movie. Anthony had talked with his dad, kind of started making plans, and so we just kind of went head first into making a movie, and that turned out to be a lot more planning and things that we had to figure out on the go.
Yeah.
I remember when we first cast everyone, we had all of the cast over to Anthony's house, and we were like, just talking about what we thought it was going to be like, kind of explaining what we were doing. And I remember thinking, man, I think I should just make it absolutely clear to the parents, because some of the parents were there, that we don't really know what we're doing. we're like asking you to trust that we are going to be making this film. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that and say, we want to make this movie, and we're going to do our best, but there's a lot we don't know. So there's going to be problems. There's going to be things and we quickly found that to be true.
My memory seems to be that I spent forever that summer in the prom's house or in a pool. It felt like my whole summer was that.
That
was my
to be
memory.
in the summer.
I found Helena very annoying a lot of times. And I think that's because when I watch the movie back, I see myself as a middle schooler. And I think one thing that I really noticed that's similar to Helena and me that I wasn't able to appreciate at first was that we're both a little lost in who we are. Because you don't really know who you are exactly in middle school, which was cool for me playing her from 13 to 15 years old, or like 14, but that I was the same age as her. And I was able to experience the decisions she was making at the same maturity level as her. Maybe I was a little less mature than her, probably. But leave me alone. I think that one great thing about Helena is at the end when she does realize what is more important to her has always been the search for a soul and not the search for like a man and true love. And then just that knowing that there's something greater to fulfill her than any one person can give her. To fill that void in her, and which in the Christian perspective is God. And I think that plays to my own self and just any person of we're always searching for something. And as a young woman, and a lot of the times it can be a man and it can be love and it can be all these things, but really the one thing that's going to fulfill you is Christ. And then just,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
I will say that the filming process for me was very frustrating. Just having it go from one summer to 2 summers, and I was also involved in it in the first summer as well, where nothing was able to be used, and I wasn't Helena then. And there was times where I just wanted to be done with it, because making this movie was very hard for all of us, I'd say. Just with the self-funded DIY things where you'd have days on set where it felt like nothing got done.
Right.
Or just times where it's like the audio wasn't running, the camera shut down, and all these things. And then it was also frustrating for me as a young woman to go from a little girl who plucked her eyebrows too much one day and had braces to then a young woman who had just like looking through just the physical transformations I was going through as a young woman does in her early teens. But as an actor, I think I can look back and really appreciate how much I've grown since I made that movie and what I would do differently in the process and how different it is from stage acting and theater acting where you have such a long rehearsal process to perfect your performance. And then in film, a lot of the times you memorize the script when you're there.
Yeah.
When we weren't doing it quite well, we probably should have worked with the script more and rehearsed our scenes more before we filmed them. But we just kind of did it because we were on a time crunch and moved on. But I think what's really was great was when we had those magic moments in film that it's there forever. And with theater, it's fleeting, and it's always in the present, but you're able to capture something in film and preserve it, which is really nice. And I'd love to continue doing film in the future, hopefully.
Nice. I'll keep that in mind.
We all will.
I think Helena's story is she's a young girl entering womanhood, but also the representation of being in the sea world and entering the human world. And I think that young women today, a lot of the times, like, we're younger, and especially in our culture, there's such like a pressure to grow up. I think that we experience, that we see this other world of womanhood, and that we're always admiring it. And on one hand, that can be a hard thing, where you're asking little girls to grow up too fast, but on the other hand, we're admiring our mothers, and we're admiring like the older women in our life, our older sisters, and people we see in our community. And there's something so wonderful and powerful and beautiful about them that we want for ourselves.
Yeah, so I think it was a little different for me since I wasn't going through the same body, mental changes as you. But it was still really neat to be able to connect with the different ladies on set, like you and the gals playing your sisters, like Grace and
Grace,
my
your
sister.
Yes,
my actual
two
sister.
Graces.
Yeah, so that was really
Graces.
neat to be able to connect with different women on set.
It was always refreshing when there was another woman on set, because there were many days it was just these four.
Just a guy time.
Just guys and me. So yeah, it was always wonderful to have another woman on set. And as you guys have said, a woman brings a really important perspective.
We did say that.
Yeah.
We learned that. We learned that. We did not realize that, I think, when we were filming, which is why there were so many days where it was just Madeline. But definitely in our like current filming, and like what we've learned is when I schedule, I definitely try to make sure that it's not just one female.
Yeah. So the other day when we were filming our latest film, we had like 3 ladies with us, and that was like one of the best days we had filming ever.
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Just the
great.
balance of like female energy and male energy is
Right.
amazing.
Girl power.
I was able to relate to and identify with how Alexander is growing from this young, inexperienced, kind of hopeless romantic boy into a man that knows better by the end of the story what it means to love selflessly, I think.
I have a lot of similarities to the captain. One of which being that I like to control things. I'm an eldest sibling, had like ideas of how my siblings should behave and kind of tried to transfer that onto them. And I think it's a similar relationship between the captain and Prince Alexander. It's very much like he sees Alexander as, definitely the word was used, nerdy and like just bookish and just very like societally awkward, and all these things that the captain thought were as weaknesses. And because of that, I think he just wasn't able to understand you, understand the character, and because of that was just like treated you poorly. It's a story of him starting to see that he's not so different as he thought. See that Prince Alexander isn't so different as he thought.
Yeah.
And even though he may not be nerdy, be bookish, be societally awkward, maybe he is, he can accept you for who you are.
Another thing that I saw in their relationship was that each of them kind of has an attribute that the other desires but doesn't have. Since each of them has an attribute that they want, like they kind of perhaps are secretly resentful or jealous of each other, that the captain is experienced and strong, and then the prince is well-read and refined.
Your character Cersei was so fun to film with you. I had one of the most fun days filming with like that scene with you. Partly because we just laughed so much.
Yeah, it was hard to film since we kept laughing. Yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun playing Cersei. Yeah, I think I can relate to the character in the way that she's really quirky. It was fun to take on a little bit of a different perspective with the Sea Witch, less of like an evil lady, but more of just this quirky drama queen, which I can really relate to. If you get to know me really well, you definitely see that side of me. I did find it a little challenging because I'm pretty camera shy, so asking me to play a part and have lines to memorize and sit in front of a camera was kind of intimidating for me, but I was like, okay, I guess I'll try. And so, but I think out of that nervousness, I kind of portrayed this really extravagant, out there kind of character with this random accent I pulled out of nowhere and just kind of acted whatever came out. I didn't really plan much of it, which is kind of how my life goes. But yeah, it was really fun to play around with my scene with Madeline and to I always laugh when thinking of having to grab her tongue to cut it off.
That's right.
And as soon as Anthony said cut, she's like, your hand tastes weird.
That's right. But my favorite part, the heart, if we can all do it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. It just happened.
That day of filming was fun as well because I think we had somebody who didn't show up or something, so we had more time than we thought. And we ended up filming a little like montage.
Yeah, we just improvised that on the day.
Yeah, which ended up being one of the, I'd say, highlights of the movie.
That was really cool, yeah, because it gave us an opportunity to really just use our ad-libbing talent and to really get inspired and think about what kind of stuff would Helena and Alexander do together just on a nice sunny day.
And I think that
you two are both good at that from your theatrical background.
Yeah, I think that was a time that we connected probably the most as well, because before it was just, we didn't really have much, but then after that, I think there was a more connection between Madeline and Michael, camaraderie. But
before that, it was more scripted by the book.
Yeah, and then there was, I think, the organic chemistry between Helena and like Alexander was able to develop, which was really fun for us.
And appropriate to the story, because that's about when it starts developing the story as well.
Yeah, and of course the candle.
Oh yeah.
Yes. The money shot of the candle.
The candle.
My favorite shot of the trailer. Maybe the movie. We'll see.
Yes, it was really fun.
It was also cool just to be able to be in an actual natural environment that didn't have many artificial set pieces or anything, as cool as those are. But it was nice to just kind of be in nature, and it helped me at least surround myself in this world as if I was actually there as the prince.
Yeah, it was definitely, I really liked the days that we had. We weren't on green screen. It was always so refreshing, and you could almost see it in our faces that you didn't have to pretend to see things. You actually were seeing them. You had the environment.
Right.
I will say, I didn't really quite enjoy the Mississippi River Day.
No, that stank to high heaven.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, how many takes did that take?
I don't remember. I hope it wasn't that many.
I don't know. I might have some weird tapeworm from how many times I dumped myself in the river.
I think I was there for that shot.
I think you were too. Yeah. I think you were there advocating for me.
Oh yes. Had to fix the mascara.
Yes. I think the shot we got actually still has
mascara
under my eyes. Yes, and then you spitting the water out, that was funny.
Yeah.
Actually, that water wasn't from the river.
No, it wasn't.
It's good to clarify, yeah.
Then I would have spat it all the way over the river if that was the case.
Well, another place we filmed water is, of course, the pool, which is actually two pools. As we had a pool at one place that actually ended up looking a bit better on film because the water was kind of murky in it. So you couldn't see the bottom. The other pool we filmed in, I believe, was the O'Hara's, and their pool, you could see the bottom. The water was crystal clear.
Which was nicer to swim in.
Yeah.
Cooler, crystal clear water.
Yeah,
On
that
those
was very
days,
fun.
I remember just like after we got done filming, we would just
Hit the pool.
Yeah, hit the pool, and it was just a great way to bond and have fun together.
Yeah, definitely a fun way to beat the heat.
Mhm.
And it was fun to film, but it was very hard to swim in a mermaid tail. I will say that. That was not easy, and a lot of our shots were hard to take to look realistically. Sometimes we got the dive away is good, but it wasn't. We didn't really master the art of filming in water,
Yeah.
I'd say.
It was difficult for me too, especially when I was supposed to be unconscious.
Yes.
So my face would frequently be, in the
In
water
water.
as you're trying with
Yeah,
all your might to keep me above it.
And I have no lifeguard certification, so I'm really glad you didn't drown.
Yeah. Me too. No.
So more water sequences. We had the storm.
The storm.
The ship in
Mhm.
the storm. So the way that we did that, just a little behind the scenes, is we had a hose. And I was standing on a
special head.
ladder. I was standing on a ladder with the hose
That's right.
raised above you guys, and you put your thumb in the hose.
Yeah,
we
it's just
used
versus
the
the water.
Right.
And then we might have used the spray, but I do remember doing this with my phone.
Okay.
And that's how we achieved the raining effect. And
We obviously augmented that in post, though, with additional
of course,
rain.
yeah,
But together, I think it looks pretty
It
good.
works.
yeah, it does.
Yeah, and then there were scenes where we had to film. We filmed part of them at the pool, but also part of them in the side yard of the prom's house where we had the ship deck.
Yeah.
So we'd have
Oh,
the image of us
tiny bits.
falling in the water in one pool,
Yeah.
like in the pool, and then
Right.
then we'd have the getting out. We'd have to wet down in a hose, and
Yeah.
that'd be filmed on a different day at the prom's house, where it was like
Mhm.
getting back onto the ship. And for the one where you jump in after me, that was green screen.
Mm-hmm.
For when we got you underwater, upside down. I think Anthony, how did we do that?
Oh yeah, you were hanging like up. No, you were hanging right side
Like,
up,
oh, like
that.
that,
So your
yeah.
hair, and then I just rotated 180 degrees, so
Oh,
it looked
right.
like you're falling down with the hair floating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did we have some fans? Like,
I think we had a leaf blower or some
leaf
fans
blower or
as well.
something to like make it. Yeah.
So what did you end up using for the swimming?
I just had them lie on a green bucket over and go like this.
Yeah. Some of them look okay-ish. Some of
Sorry.
them
No, you're good.
don't look so
Really
great.
working on those core skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did a couple other scenes. I have an apparition scene where they're basically actually completely just actors on green screen. I particularly remember the apparition scene. Helena has to appear with Regina there. So we shot a plate of you and Madeline playing Alexander and Regina, and then we had to shoot with Steven standing in where Madeline would be at the right height, and then we had to film you separately as Helena and
Yeah.
comp you, and I think that turned out really well.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Effects helped. I did the green screen work on that much later, like a year or two ago instead of longer before that. So I had better software and just had picked up more skills along the way.
What about the shot you guys called
The money shot.
Oh,
we
yes.
I think we had to get up on a ladder to get that the right angle.
So what is the
looking
money
down
shot,
at
first
you
of all?
jumping off the ship.
Jumping off the ship.
when she's
I
committing
can't remember
suicide.
who had the idea, but we were like, okay, we got to make this epic. It's got to be from super wide, so we see her jumping, her whole self jumping off, and it's got to be like we wanted it from like heights, to like looking down. And so yeah, I climbed to like the very top rung of that ladder, and was like being stabilized by someone
I think my
holding
brother
the
was
ladder or
helping.
something. And then
I think
even
I
on
have
top of
memories
that,
stabilizing.
I think I had the
Yeah.
tripod and was kind of even holding it even
Yeah.
over my
Oh
head.
my gosh.
Classic Stephen. And then, the money shot, we slowed it down to slow motion, but we filmed it in a different frame rate so that... it
No,
would
we
look-
didn't actually.
Oh, we didn't?
We didn't have the ability to do that back then.
Oh, okay.
It's only when I got my newest camera that we could film it slow motion.
Okay. Well,
Back then, I could only film at 24p or
still
30.
looks pretty good. I guess it does kind of have that frame
Yeah.
skip, which kind of makes it a little more dreamy, like almost
Which maybe
like...
is appropriate
Yeah,
for that bit.
yeah.
It was fun. I was jumping onto these couch cushions that we had
Mhm.
put below, and which Mrs. Prom was not quite happy about us using. So
I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know
yeah,
if
we
they
had
got
to
a
like we
little
put
dirty.
blank sheets under it and on top of them so they
Mhm.
wouldn't get dirty.
Right. Right.
Yeah, one of the difficulties though was that the ship was actually on a hill, and you had to put the. Did you have the ladder? It was like trying to find the right place to put the ladder because it's a small
Oh,
side
that's-
yard, big slope.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but finding the right angle and
Mhm.
everything where my head wasn't cut off, where my head was still in green screen.
Yeah.
Tricky.
It took a lot of work. I think one of my brothers was there that day.
I think it was Patrick.
Patrick
probably.
or Miles helped hold up
Yeah.
the green screen to like make it higher.
Yeah,
Nice.
being a
But
trooper.
guess it was worth it.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Madeline. Yeah, that was a really great day. I think we got to wrap up now. So I'd like to thank everyone here for coming. Emily, thank you for your acting and for just the help you did behind the scenes. I'd like to thank you for
Yeah,
that.
I'll just jump in just for like helping us afterwards as well, because I know you weren't too involved with like the producing side of things, but the fact that you like stepped in and like were like enthusiastic about this project and making it happen.
Yeah, for
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for letting me be a part of this project. It was a great opportunity to continue learning my filmmaking skills and just have an opportunity to act in front of the camera and explore the character of Cersei. It was great to meet Madeline and get to know her more and some other people. Yeah, so I just want to thank you all for such a wonderful experience.
And thank you, Michael, for your portrayal of the second main character, Alexander, and the help you did behind the scenes as well.
Thank you. Yeah, it was such an honor to be able to help with the production, and to be able to play a character that I could relate to at least in many ways, and to be able to meet Madeline for the first time was a real treat, and to get to know Stephen better, and to continue to work with Emily, is such a joy, and you guys are practically my second family outside of my biological one. So,
Sweet.
like,
Filming family.
it's such a joy.
Madeline, I'd like to thank you for your great performance. Especially, I know you've grown as an actress since, but I think you did a pretty good job even with this. And I'd like to thank you for sticking this project through, and especially for being willing to attend the premiere that's coming up, and all the other great things you've done for
And
us.
even for being here at this
And
interview.
for being
yeah.
here for this
Like,
interview.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
Stephen, thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's okay. Thank you, Anthony. It was a really great opportunity to learn a lot about acting for me and to just fully jump into a world that I did not know. And thankfully, it did not deter me at all from pursuing acting in the future. In fact, I will continue to do that. And I want to thank Stephen. A lot of the times had really great direction, and I did learn a lot from you about acting, which was really great. And Anthony, of course, for trusting me with the vision, and Michael for being a delightful co-star and just a delight to hang out with, and for Emily for
Likewise.
always being a motherly one when we needed it. And
Our
just,
Tara.
yes, just for all the times you came on set and really helped me out on days that were tough. And we're always there to like offer a hug or a laugh and just be another girl. I really appreciated it.
Anytime.
Thank you, Madeline. And thank you, Stephen, for your acting, of course, but especially for the co-directing you did, like Madeline mentioned. I don't think this film would have been as good, well, without any of you. And you, Stephen, I think definitely helped fill up my shortcomings, especially at the time that I had for directing. So
Right.
thank you for that. And thank you all for coming.
Actually, I just wanted to acknowledge as well that I think I heard it just a couple minutes ago. Someone said, like, it's always a joy to film with you. And I just want to, like, call that out maybe and just say, like, it's not always a joy to film. I think we can all just
No, it's
acknowledge
not.
that, right?
No.
There
There
are
are
definitely some
difficulties,
days
there are
and just,
hardships.
like, moments where it's like, I really don't like you right now. like,
Now look at me.
and that's part of filming. That's part of life. And just to like acknowledge that we got through those moments. Like those were our like forging moments. Where
Yeah.
like steel on steel and iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And as a result, we're definitely that much greater of friends. And that's really what
Absolutely.
the Film Guild and what we believe filming can be about is forging friendships.
Yeah, this is a project that we struggled through and became better from it.
Amen. And that's, I think, the biggest thing we're going to take away from it. Well, thank you all for coming, and those of you who watched this video, I hope you enjoyed it.
Anyways, so do you want to get Chinese food?
I do
some
need
Chinese
lunch, so I
food
don't
right now.
What's that line
But,
from The Avengers with
Oh,
You guys had shawarma?
yes.
That's
And then
the
the
shawarma.
end credits.
the...
I don't know what it is, but I want to try.
Yeah.
I just gotta say, I'm so excited to like film this summer with this group?
It's gonna be
Madeline's
really
gonna be in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Yes.
Malin.
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 Adult
Oh, that's
Malin.
right. Malin about to do